Hey everybody, welcome to episode 11 of the Baali Chronicles. This episode, the characters are going to meet with Royston, who is a servant of Annabelle, the Toreador Primogen, to deliver a message to them from the hierarchy. It seems that Malenkov's actions at the end of the Elysium have kind of had consequences, and it starts to set the tone for where the rest of the evening goes for our characters. Let's catch up and see what happens. He gives you the address off of the card that Royston gave to him, and it's a little bit further north from where you guys are. It's on the north side. It's in like the edge of like right where you stop going from shops into more residential. So it's off of a main drag, just right around a corner, right before it starts to get more apartment complexes and buildings on the north side of Chicago. And it's a small antiquity shop. Primarily deals in like old books and like first editions and rare prints. It's got essentially all glass windows, like that old school like bookshop that has just almost like a little bit off the ground, like I'd say waist height. They go a window that goes all the way up to the ceiling, and it kind of goes in towards the door from the outside. You can see in through those windows. The lights are on. There's a closed sign that's hung, like an old-fashioned closed sign that's hung in the door that says "Please call again." But you can see lights on the inside, and you see two people kind of moving around in there. And for Preston and Lamont, it's Royston, the Toreador with the stringly hair, the scrawny-looking dude that you've met and talked with. He's the guy who's in there.
All right.
I'll stand by the door.
I'll
stay in the car because I'm not a Toreador.
Okay. So is anybody going with Lamont, or is Lamont going alone?
I'll go in with him.
So you're leaving Sullivan alone?
Unless they tell me to come with.
I feel like we already had this talk.
Hey,
Nobody goes anywhere alone.
Okay.
And since
I'll be going with.
Yeah, we all have to go. We all have to go, or none of us can go.
So the three of you all get up and go towards the shop door, stand by the window. You'll see Royston kind of look up and catch you guys there after a minute or so of you standing, in that doorway. He just kind of gives you a nod and a smile as he walks towards the door. Then his eyes fall on Sullivan. He's kind of like, pauses for a second, just enough hesitation to go, oh, he saw a caitiff. Then he goes and opens the door for you and lets you in. He's like, gentlemen, please come in. All of you. Yes, of course.
I'll commit to nonchalant. I'll just walk in like I didn't notice any of that. Like, who cares? Hey, we're bohemian. I don't give a shit.
So as you guys all step in, he closes the door behind you, and you hear that little jingle of like a bell up top of the corner of the door, kind of just go off as it shuts. You hear the twisting of the lock and the clack as it kind of, the bolt locks into place. He's like, all right, gentlemen. So we are essentially alone. My servant's here, but he's non-essential. We can do this a little further in the back away from the window if we could.
Okay.
He'll step with you guys through rows of books. Now, for Sullivan, there's a lot of rare stuff here. Like, this guy's actually got a good collection. Nothing that really piques your interest, but you can tell the quality as a researcher in antiquities and archaeology that there's a lot of good stuff here. You guys make it back to this old school wooden countertop, and it's got like a little bell for service. It looks very like, if you looked at an old movie and what a shop like this should look like, this is what he modeled it after, apparently. It's even got like, papers that are grayed and a little orange with age just off to the side, scattered. Like, it's all for show, all of it.
Oh, very retro.
Yeah. He just kind of chuckles. When you guys get back there, he steps around the back of the side of the counter. He's like, all right, leans forward on it. He's wearing like this striped button-up shirt and like a really like old vest, like a little bit of a brown color to it. But you're not quite sure if it's brown as deep as it looks because it's old or because it's meant to be that color. Not quite sure. But he looks all three of you and says, listen, I'm kind of relaying a message from the court. The individual Malenkov has been blood hunted by the prince for what happened on Elysia last night. Well, it wasn't on Elysium, but it was outside, which is a good thing for all of us. But if y'all find him, that'd be a big deal. So I'm not sure if you guys do any of the fighting stuff. I know some of us do. I'm not, obviously. But if you could take him down or bring him in, that'd be a pretty big feather in your cap. I mean, bringing a bloodhound individual, kind of a big deal.
Well, I've been in a Street Fighter too, but I don't quite know if I'm going to be on par with.
Yeah, this guy is apparently some old badass Sabat member. Killed a bunch of ghouls outside of Elysium.
Well,
Yeah.
that's absolutely unacceptable.
Hence the blood hunt. Jackson's
Yes.
not too happy. Excuse me, Prince Jackson is none too happy. But
Yeah,
that's
I would
really
expect nothing less. That's
yeah. No, neither would I. I know I'm just going to keep my ear to the ground and relay information as needed, but I just need to let you guys know so everybody is kind of knowing about what's going on right now. And if you see him, if you don't want to get involved, let Damien know. I think that Preston and I forget your name. He points at Sullivan.
Sullivan?
Yeah, and you probably saw him at Elysium last night, I'd assume. Larger Eastern European gentleman, beard,
Very loud.
big hands, a lot of rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, very dangerous looking indeed.
Yeah, scruffy looking individual for certain. But if you don't want to get into fisticuffs, I completely understand. Just let Damien know, and we'll go from there.
absolutely. I mean, we haven't come across him in our travels so far tonight, but certainly we'll be on the lookout as we make our way this evening.
Yeah, it's just something I'd recommend. So
Sounds dangerous, but certainly
yeah,
it's
Yeah.
our duty.
of course. But that's all I had. I just needed to reach out to you guys and let you all know.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Appreciate the heads up.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Well, if you need anything else or you spot him and want our help,
Oh,
you know
I'm
how to
not.
get hold of us.
I'm not getting involved physically with that individual at all. I will be making a text message. That's
Of
as far as
course.
I'm going.
No, of course, absolutely. But for courtesy's sake, I figured I'd let you know, extend the offer,
I appreciate it.
etc. Yes.
I appreciate it.
Have to come here sometime during business hours and have a look around. I do like old books.
Yeah, we got some really nice stuff, and he just kind of looks around, the shop. I do some of the hand picking, but also my servant. He's very, very well versed in old books and first editions, usually around Middle Ages. He's gotten some really nice stuff.
Yeah, if you get anything interesting like in horror, that's always been my thing.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out.
Great. Well, let's leave you to it then.
All right, take care.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and lock up after you guys head out.
I'll do the seemingly subservient to these two thing, and I'll go open the door for them before I walk out.
Okay.
Gotta keep
Nice.
up pretenses, man.
You guys head out. You hear the little jingle of the bell as you close the door and shut it. You're back out into the Chicago cold. About a minute or so after you guys walk out, you see Royston walk up. He locks the door. Just gives you a nod, pulls down the shade, and you see the lights slowly start to dim in the shop.
Yeah, after we get in the car and I start it up and we start driving, I'll turn and look. Yeah, we forgot to tell you that Lasombra literally killed Jackson and a couple other ghouls right out in front of the fucking Elysium yesterday.
Sweet. Do you want to
He tore
find
him
him?
apart. I don't want to get anywhere near him.
I wonder if I should
Find him in text message, sure, but I'm not dancing with the guy.
I mean, if he was blood hunted, I mean that must impact their agenda here. I wonder what's
Certainly not going to go in their favor.
Maybe call Serena and see what her feelings on it. Just to kind of get an idea of where they're coming from, because like you said, this puts a hamper on their attempts to get in.
well, in order if they really have hopes of that going through and getting started on any kind of firm footing, they're going to have to let this blood hunt happen, because if they disappear him and smuggle him out of the city somehow, that makes them look bad, because now
What if
Lasombra has come and done this and fled and left, and they just aren't able to police their own. It makes them seem dangerous and unhinged and untrustworthy. So they're going to have
What
to
if we
either let
force
this
her?
go, or they're going to have to turn him in themselves.
that's what I was about to bring up? What if we force her in the spotlight on this one and request her to come with if that's what we want to do. And one, she's potentially powerful enough, or at least could fend him off while we contact the people that need to be contacted. Two, it helps their agenda. Three, it makes sure she owes us, on top of the fact that we'll also get credit from the prince for helping bring down a bloodhound member of the city. We literally grease all ponds in this case, provided she doesn't die fighting this guy.
Well, I wonder how much.
Worst case scenario, we just don't find him and she cruises around with us tonight.
I don't know that she'll be hanging around with us, but I wonder if the knowledge of who was responsible for blowing up those limousines would be worth her turning Malenko over to us.
So, quick question.
Sure.
Yep.
This Melenkov, is this someone that I've ever seen?
No. Malenkov has come with the Lasombra, and this was the first Elysium he actually went to. So he hasn't been around. And remember, you guys, the first person to see any of the Lasombra was Preston. We went to the, the Succubus Club that one night.
Yep.
So they haven't really been around. Like, this was their first showing at Elysium. That's why they had to get there on time to meet the prince. And that's why Jason's plans are more important that night than any other night.
You done fucked up, AA Ron. I was going to say, I was going to suggest that I use a ritual, but I don't know what this guy looks like. So, and I already know nobody has a picture of him. So,
right.
Story.
Do either of you know the ritual? Illuminate the Trail of Prey?
I do not.
I do not.
It's one I would like to learn, though, when you're willing to teach, of course.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I can teach it to you in one night. Anyways, I could track him if I knew what he looked like, but I don't know what he looks like. So,
Do you have to see him, or can we describe him?
I have to know who I'm tracking. I would have to see him or see a picture of him or have interacted with him at some point.
Fair enough.
Yes. Unfortunately, doesn't seem like I'll be much of a help in that regard. How old is he? Does anybody know how old he is?
No idea.
I don't know. A lot of Lasombra are really fucking old from what I remember.
Well, I doubt I'm going to be able to find a picture of him at the library or doing a Google search, but well, I've got nothing. Sorry. I thought I had something. I thought potentially we could track him and then contact the Lasombra and put them in a position where they had no choice but to turn him over. But I got nothing.
There's a little knock on the window from the sidewalk side of the car.
I figured we were driving, but yeah.
No, you guys want to take off? All right. I just heard you guys sit in the car, but
I feel like the knock has precluded us from
no. If you guys wanted to have been on the road, that's totally fine. I just figured you guys were talking before getting on the road in front of the shop still.
I was under the impression we were sitting still. But.
Yeah, because I don't know. We didn't know where we were going yet.
Still?
Yeah, we didn't know where we're going.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, yeah, it's a little like knock on the window. You guys look over.
V guy, I'm gonna be pissed.
No. it's this
Melenkov.
It's this little girl. She looks to be no more than 5 or 6 years old. So maybe like 3.5, 4 feet tall. She's wearing a really shoddy coat. Looks like a homeless girl. She just kind of smiles at the window and kind of raises up this little letter.
I'll roll the window down. Take it.
Hi, a pretty lady told me to give this to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
I'll roll the window back up. That wasn't weird.
She kind of turns
what
around.
What's wrong with you? I'll
skips
take
down the
out
road.
a $5 bill. Little girl.
She'll stop. Oh, thank you. And she'll run by. You see her grab it like it's idly in her little hands. And she looks at you, thanks, mister. And goes and runs off. You see her round away into the alleyway.
Now I'll roll the window up.
Don't you have any heart?
No.
This night gets weirder and weirder.
Children need to eat.
I'll look at the letter. I'll be like, this is what she gave me.
You open it up, and you kind of have to put your finger in and kind of tear the top to pull it out. It's written on the stationery for the Drake Hotel, and has an address written in it. It's a small place outside of Chinatown, just outside of Chinatown, not that far from it. You're not familiar with the address, but you do know it's pretty roughly where that is.
I have a very
Maybe
distinct
this is where
feeling.
we go.
Well, of course it's where we go, but I have a very distinct feeling we're being led through the night.
Yep. Let's just follow the fucking white rabbit, I guess.
See how deep this rabbit hole really goes. Guess we're heading that way, right?
This
All
is a
right.
weird night.
So,
All right, well,
so you guys start heading towards Chinatown. No phone calls. It's really quiet. You guys have time to talk about stuff on your way down there. Honestly, getting on the expressway is easiest to get down. And head back south that far. You hop off the expressway by Chinatown. You pass Reggie's, and you're just passing by the large little archway that goes over the street that announces Chinatown. And you start coming up on this building, and it's one of those old bars that have that stucco type exterior and those little circular windows. And it's got this glass door that has a white sheet on it, like a long curtain that covers the whole door. And there's a red light inside. You can see somebody's tried to fit into the little window areas, different signs for different beers, Miller Lite neon sign and things like that. That's what you see when you guys drive by. The windows have blood splattered all over them. And it's not little either. Not like somebody's oh, I cut my thumb, splash. Somebody got gutted in front of these windows, is what it looks like on the inside.
so we go in the back.
I don't know that it matters what direction we go in,
I
but
don't
sure.
think
The
So
back,
we go in the front.
Matters.
the back seems efficient.
Maybe a
so,
tad safer.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm particularly skilled in the art of breaking and entering. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, let's go to the back.
Give it a shot.
Okay.
I am not.
You guys pull the vehicle around the side of the block, head towards the alleyway, and start driving down between the buildings. The streets, the alleyway itself hasn't really been plowed too much, so you're driving through relatively fresh snow, so it's crunching under the tires. You know that if you had to get out of here in a hurry, you'd probably be sliding all over the place in the vehicle. But it is unobstructed.
Is what it is.
Yeah, there are a couple of smaller garbage cans here and there by the buildings, and some dumpsters further down by where the restaurants and the bars are at. And you pass all those, you can find a spot right by the back door here if you want to. There's no other vehicles back here. Either the employees parked in the street or they just don't park at all in the alleyway.
Yeah, I'll park close. We may need to exit quickly, and
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
back in just to be safe.
You kind of pull up by the door, manage to get the vehicle parked as well as you can. It's like I said, it's going to be a little rough. You have to leave in a hurry. Your tires are going to be sliding all over the shit back here. It hasn't been really plowed, but you got to spot the park. That's the important part. You guys get out of the vehicle. Again, that cold air hits you, and with that is this immense smell of vitae that's just flowing from that back door. Fresh.
Holy shit. This can't be good.
Well, I don't know why the hell we got the invitation to come check this out, but
I don't know either. I'll try and open the back door. I'll just see if the little thingy will.
I wonder
You
who the
pull
pretty
it-
lady is.
And it's unlocked. You just turn the knob, opens right up. You pull it open, and you can see this narrow hallway. It's got that cheap plastic coating on the walls with the occasional seams that kind of join it together, the back of a restaurant or something of that nature. The floor is that brownish colored tile with the black grout, and it just flows back into what looks to be like a small kitchen area. The lights are off, but something's flickering up past the kitchen, like the doorway that you would leave to go from the kitchen into the main area is kind of swaying a little bit. You hear the creak as it's on its hinges, and whenever it slides back, you see a bit of red light kind of spilling through the kitchen to illuminate the area. It bounces off the steel, furniture in here, like the table for the cutting and all that, and off of the stove. But that blood smell is really, really potent.
I'd like to activate my heightened senses to make sure that when I walk through here, I'm very careful not to step in any blood.
Okay. It looks like for you right now, when you're looking down with what light is coming from the telephone poles further down the alleyway and spilling into this doorway, there's not anything back here in that main hall until you get to the kitchen, and there you can see some blood and some splattering on the tables that just kind of are barely outlined in your vision when you heighten your senses. That blood smell gets really, really powerful. Now, luckily you fed, and you weren't that real hungry anyways. You just had that gnawing bit of hunger,
Yeah.
but it's still kind of tempting. That aroma is just flowing through that door as it kind of sways open.
Right.
I'm gonna make my way over to the door that's swinging, and I'm gonna like cautiously, like before actually pushing it open, see if I can kind of angle myself back a little bit as it's swinging, and see if I can get like a peek, like a peek in, and I'll activate heightened senses to see if I can get a better idea.
So as you walk in, you feel the tile underneath you get slick as the snow that's been accumulated on your shoes from walking through the alleyway kind of melts in this warmer temperature. When you walk inside, it's maybe like 60s, bordering on like mid 60s. Not that hot, still kind of cool, but enough to start melting that snow and start making a mess inside, if you know what I mean. You guys are trekking through the snow to get in here. So as you get through the kitchen area, you manage to, well, actually, I don't know, just Preston care if he walks through any blood?
Yeah, I don't want to walk through any blood.
All right. So you manage to kind of like, as you walk into the main kitchen, using heightened senses to kind of navigate a bit better. And with the light that's kind of like coming through that swinging door, you get a good outline of the room you're in. It's literally just a kitchen. It's a small little staff kitchen where you can see like a couple of burners, like maybe 6 or 7, well, 6 or 8, I would say, that because it's in twos, right? So 2 main stoves and like a large, a large kitchen sink, and then a prep station. And on the prep station, you see somebody's hand is laying there with a cleaver, like knocked into the wooden cutting board. Human hand, relatively fresh by the smell of it and by the look of it with your senses. As you walk by that and avoid the blood that's pooled down below the metal countertop, you make your way to the door. And Lamont can see this clearly as well as you guys kind of make your way in, I'm assuming, Lamont and Sullivan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be following.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you close the door behind you or leave it open for a quick escape?
I'll close it.
Okay.
I don't want somebody, out in the back of the alley walking through to wander in.
All right, so you shut the door, and that cuts off that entire bit of light from the outside alleyway. Now, luckily for Lamont and Preston, your heightened senses are kind of compensating a bit. You can see outlines and general shapes. And when the light comes in from that doorway, you get a little more glimpse, so you can kind of navigate a bit better. Sullivan, you're walking around almost in the dark. And like, your senses are a bit sharper because, again, you're a predator, but you are basically just able to avoid knocking into stuff, essentially.
I'll grab onto one of their shoulders and let them lead me in essence because I can't see shit.
Okay. So Preston manages to get by the door and angles himself to where when it swings open, he can kind of get a glimpse inside. And what you're looking at is it's another small hallway and a bunch of separate rooms. And the doors are open. And when it opens, you get, because your heightened senses, not only the smell of blood, but the smell of stale sex in the air. And you can see into those rooms just a little bit as that door slides open. It looks like these side rooms have been converted into like bedrooms. And when you see further down that subtle hall, like maybe it's like 15, 20 feet out, there's like a large living area, and you can see there's like a hookah on a glass table and a small bar to one side. It looks like this has been some sort of makeshift bar / maybe even a brothel or a prostitution den.
All right. So, definitely Sullivan's kind of place, given his penchant for prostitutes.
What fucking prostitute?
I'll start open. When the door swings back, I'll, push it open so that it stops swinging and just kind of ease it open.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of look back at those two and kind of motion like, okay, let's go. And then I'll step into the hall and hold the door for these two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Following.
All right, so you guys slide out into the hall as Preston's holding the door open, and you see this cloud of cigar smoke. At least mostly, Lamont sees it first because heightened sense, and then Preston gets a sight of it as well. It kind of flows from around one of the corners, and you hear this soft, like a grunt. For Sullivan, you see it colored as it kind of goes in the air past the neon signs. Just this cloud of smoke just wafts across the hallway. Now, looking down at your feet, you've gone from the clay tile of the kitchen in that hallway into like the cheap, really thin carpet that's on usual retail stores. It's that really thin shit that doesn't have any like real strands to it. It's just like that layer of cloth.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're stepping onto. And as soon as you step down for Sullivan, you feel this slight squish under your feet. And it's not just the snow, that carpet's soaked with blood.
It's where they're leading me, man. I'm blind. It's dark.
Okay. We can see a bit more from the neon signs that are, kind of coated in blood, so it makes it like a red light in the area.
Slowly start walking forward. I want to like creep up to like whatever the first room is, whether it be on the left or the right, and kind of creep up to like outside the door and try and listen to see if there's any activity. And if I don't hear anything, kind of peek in and see. Like I want to start clearing these rooms as we go forward.
Yeah, and I will hold my finger up before they start walking anywhere, and I believe I will be enacting my silence of death.
Okay.
The finger will be like, I'm gonna walk forward.
Okay.
Okay.
I assume that they'll understand since I'm not making any sound.
Right. When he moves, like you don't hear shit. And that's for Preston, that's a big deal because you would hear even his clothing moving with heightened senses up. And as he starts moving, you don't hear anything.
All right. Yeah. Assuming I'll get the gist of what he's saying, I'll let him go.
Okay.
As the stealthy one.
Yeah. And
I
since
can't
I'm
use
stealthing, go ahead, Jeff. Sorry, I was just.
I
Gonna
can't
make a
use
stupid
my
joke.
cloak of shadows on someone else. It's just me, right?
It's
And
just
it doesn't
you.
work because I'm touching them. They know I'm here.
Yeah. You have to stand.
Just double check.
Yeah, you have to stand still and you kind of blend into your surroundings as long as you have cover. Remember, it's
Right,
like
I
old
have-
school hide behind pole.
Hide behind pole. Yeah, no, I got it. But I have level 2, but I know I can't use level 2. I just wasn't sure if I could use level 1 on one of us since it's dark in here, if I could use it on somebody else. But I'm assuming that's still cloak. I just haven't read that far
Unseen
up on
Passage
Obfuscate
is
V5.
level 2. So, well, it depends on if you could have selected, Silence of Death as your level 2. It's up to you. Whatever
No.
you picked.
Unseen is fine.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure.
So Lamont creeps forward, and you said you were going to check out some of the rooms like Preston was going to.
Yeah, I was gonna make a stupid joke and say that since I'm in stealth mode, I'll squat and walk slowly.
Duck walk?
But I will actually sort of get a little bit low, so I am trying to be as stealthy as possible so that I'm not in like the eye line of anybody.
Right. Yeah, it's not a problem at all. So as you kind of step forward, you have about 15 or so feet, before you actually hit the corners where that bar room is.
Yeah.
And that's where you're seeing that cloud of smoke come from. And your senses and your sense of smell, it's definitely a cigar somebody's smoking. But you get to the first door, it's on your left, and there are 2 doors on either side of you, spaced out evenly. You look into the first door, and there's a bed, small little nightstand, shabby. All of it's shabby. The sheets are old, and they've got, the threadbare. The nightstand's probably IKEA, if that. Maybe it's Walmart. Who knows? It's just a really crappy little plastic nightstand, essentially.
Yeah.
And there's some towels along the floor on one side of the bed. Looks like somebody got out of there in a hurry. When you look and shift your gaze to the right side of you, you see another similar setup with a bed, nightstand, but there's this body, 2 of them. One's a male on the bed, on his back, literally ripped open. Like you see the rib cage kind of spread open, like somebody grabbed it and tore it apart. And there's another body, you can't even tell what gender it is, slumped over the side of the bed, like they're half on and half off of it, but their face has been completely bashed in to where there's nothing left but just bone spurs and just gristle leaking onto the floor.
Yummy.
Ew. Gross.
Damn.
Well, I'm not going to mourn their loss because I don't know them, and I'm more concerned about what caused that to happen to them. So I'll make a mental note and continue to move through the place.
The next one on your left that you hit, you look in that doorway, and there are 2 men. Looks like they have guns. Actually, they definitely do have guns. You can see one has his hand like inside of his little suit jacket, but his head is turned way too far in one direction, and part of his jaw is just completely shattered. Like you can see almost a handprint where something bashed into his face and just crushed his skull. The other gentleman has a gun, but he's laying on his stomach across the bed. You see his pistol still in his death grip, but something had ripped his spine from the small of his back up to his shoulder blades, and it's just kind of standing there like this gruesome flagpole. It's just leaking with gore.
Wow. But
Gotta respect the brutality.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, there seems to be just a wave of absolute anger and brutality. I'm assuming this was either. This seems like a frenzy, right?
Could be. Or somebody just moved in like a killing machine and just slaughtered everybody here.
Well, is it possible for me to reach into this guy's jacket and actually take the gun out of his jacket?
Yeah. You can slide in. You guys will see Lamont kind of fade out of view as he slides into this last room on the left. You walk in, you kind of go pull the guy's hand away. You open his jacket, and he's got this Desert Eagle in the shoulder holster. And you'll pull it free.
Okay. While I'm in there, so I'll stick it in my jacket just in case I need to annoy whatever killed these people.
Fair enough.
I'll make a note again. Okay, we got some more corpses here. I'll continue forward to try to see if I can get a beat on whatever's blowing clouds of smoke. I'm assuming that's who did this.
As you head out of the doorway on the left-hand side, you only have like 4 or 5 feet of wall before the corner where the smoke's coming from. Now, it doesn't, by the concentration of both the smell and the cloud itself as you look at it, he's not just around the corner. He's sitting a little further back, or she, and they're just smoking casually. It doesn't sound like they're alerted. You don't hear any shifting on the couch. They just seem, you hear the occasional crackling as they take a drag off the cigar, and then the slow exhale as the smoke is pushed out into the air. They're incredibly still by the way. Not hearing any sort of rustling of their clothes or the couch or whatever they're sitting on.
Yeah.
That's a type of stillness that only the dead can manage.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I'll try to get a little bit closer to get a view of who this individual is, if I recognize them or what.
Do you want to peek around the corner?
I would like to peek around the corner.
All right. You may go ahead and give me a stealth roll, sir. We'll use your dexterity and your stealth.
I'd like to peek beyond the pines.
Would you like to use any of your bonus dice?
Let me see. Dexterity and stealth. I'll use one.
Okay. Not bad. 2. All right, so you got 2 successes. Let's see what this individual gets. 2.
41. Fuck you.
All right. Since you guys are the personas dramatic of the story, I will let you win on the ties there. You manage to peer around, and they don't quite see you. What you see sitting on the couch is this rather powerfully built individual. He's got a bald head. He's got this scraggly beard that comes around his chin and has a mustache. You see him raise this cigar that's been half smoked to his lips, and his entire right hand just has ring after ring after ring on it. He has really piercing blue eyes as he's kind of just looking at the carnage around him. Then you'll see on the table, he's sitting back on his black couch against the wall. On this table in front of him, there's this individual who's been gutted and ripped open. This guy was just disemboweled, and it looks like it was really an issue because there's blood splattered everywhere. Like, not just from somebody ripping, but this thing was probably squirming when it happened. You've been around sacrifice and done enough to know this guy was probably alive when he got disemboweled. And this guy is just ice cold, just sitting there looking at the carnage, smoking his cigar, and just seems resigned. Like, there's that smoldering anger behind him just by the tenseness of his posture. But that's what you're seeing.
Okay. I will retreat back to my compatriots, and I'll kind of motion, let's quietly get the fuck out of here.
Just gonna leave?
Well, yeah, I want to get far enough away where I can talk to them.
Oh, okay. I was like, getting out of here. Like, you guys are just heading out, huh? Okay, cool. So you go back into the kitchen essentially, and from what you could probably gather, it's probably a good idea to maybe that back hall or even in the alleyway. Now, that door does make noise when it opens and closes, but you kind of think that maybe that swinging kitchen door was kind of keeping that from being too loud. Now that door was shut now. It's just kind of hanging still. Mm-hmm. If it starts swinging again, there might be a
Yeah, well, so the good thing about this is I don't actually need to physically talk to them. So I'll just type
Okay.
on my phone and I'll show it to them. And I'll type, I'm pretty sure the guy that's blood hunted is the one in that room. How would the two of you like to proceed?
I'll pull out my phone and I'll type something. Text Damien.
Not privy to his number.
I'll shrug. I don't know where to go from here.
You know whose number we do have?
Who?
Jason Newberry. And Serena.
And Sierra.
Sierra.
There's Sierra.
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to text Jason Newberry.
Again, not something I ever thought I would hear.
No. No. I will text. Heard there was a party on tonight. Guest of honor, hard to find. Pretty sure I've tracked him down. Send.
You get a text back. It just says, "Oh, really? Where?"
Where are we at?
You guys are in Chinatown.
We're in a bar in Chinatown.
Yep.
Or, yeah.
Outside of Chinatown, right? We're not in
Yeah.
Chinatown.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
just on the outskirts.
So, whatever the name of the bar is, I'll name. I don't want to give specifics because this is technology. So I don't know exactly how to veil this, but can I like use my subterfuge to try
Yeah.
to veil?
Definitely. I'll let you pick whichever attribute you want to run with for this one, because you're the one trying to figure out how to make your work for your character. But yeah, your subterfuge roll would definitely be more than acceptable.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with my intelligence and my subterfuge.
Okay.
I don't know how intelligent I am.
I will say you'll only need one success because you guys are kind of used to sending veiled messages. So it's just picking the right phrasing. So just one
Yeah.
success needed.
Nice.
Ishvid.
He sends you back a message like a 30 seconds or so later. I can be there in 10 minutes.
Okay. I'll just reply. Guest of the party seems to be in a holding pattern, but he's really left a mess of his place, clothes all over, trying to pack a bag. Might want to bring some extra suitcases, etc.
You just get a thumbs up and a smiley face.
Okay. I suggest I'll type out on the phone again. I suggest we just wait in this area and not move unless that guy moves. I'll put my phone in my pocket and I'll just find a shadowy spot to like very quietly lean because I'm still Silence of Blood, so it doesn't really matter if it's a quiet spot, but I'll make it
Right,
quiet.
you'll make it quiet. Was that a nod by everybody?
Yeah.
They threw their thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Okay. It's like, sounds good, buddy. So you guys just start chilling out, and probably about 5 minutes through this entire, I guess, stakeout you guys have going on in this like carnal house, you hear the rustling of the couch's fabric as this individual stands up. Then you hear this breaking of glass sound as he basically flips something over, and then there's a sound of a body hitting the ground, like this wet splat, and then it rolls, and then you hear glass shatter after that happens, and like the subtle settling of like the under part, the structure of the table itself kind of rests on that broken glass and just kind of grind. And you see his shadow cross the hallway as he walks towards the other side of the room. And you hear bottles being moved around, a cork being popped, and then liquid being poured into a glass. The shadow then crosses back and seems to start going towards that hallway that you guys were in. Where are you hiding?
I figured we were like near the back door.
Okay, so you guys went into the kitchen area. Not a problem.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear bodies being moved around in some of the rooms that are there. Then some sort of curse, and it sounds like either Russian or some Slavic language. Then the walking around. just you hear footsteps, just heavy footfalls in that room, and this guy is just like talking to himself in Russian or whatever language it is, maybe Ukrainian, who knows? You don't speak it, but it sounds very harsh and very frustrated. You guys hear some car pull up in the alleyway, a door open, shuts, and it sounds like the crunching of snow as somebody's approaching that back door.
Okay. I will continue to turtle into the dark corner just in case it's not who he called.
Okay. Is anybody doing anything specific aside from Lamont to try to reduce his presence?
Yeah, I'll try and just step over and duck behind the cutting station, probably in the middle of that kitchen, one of the small tables you were talking about.
Yeah, there's an under to that as well. So you have the main part of the surface of the table, and there's like a rack underneath where they would put like pots and pans and stuff. So if you really, really wanted to, you can climb underneath there and try to hide behind some of the pots and pans.
No, I don't want to make that much noise, and I'll just hope for the best by kind of getting out of direct line of sight, potentially being able to move around that middle table if need be, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's you find a spot where you think your body's mostly obscured and it's dark, so who's gonna walk in, like turning on lights and shit.
Right.
Preston?
Was the door, there's that back door, does it swing open into the room or does it pull out?
It pulls out
night?
into the alleyway.
Into the alleyway?
Yep.
All right. I'll just try and get like on top of one of the, is there like a counter along the wall, like when you walk in? I'm going to get like onto the counter and back so that if somebody comes in, I'll see who they are before they could possibly look and notice me.
So two you are in the corner, Preston's on top of a counter in the corner, and Sullivan's trying to hide behind or underneath the table. All right. Courageous Baali. All right, so you guys hear a rattling of somebody grabbing the back doorknob and the creak as it gets pulled open, and then you hear a click and clack as shoes are touching down on the tile. Sounds like heels.
That's not who I called.
Well, never know with Jason Newberry.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
I might get a peek and see who the fuck this is.
Do you want to roll your stealth, sir? Dex and stealth?
Certainly.
Please do so. Now, Jeff, you could have used unseen presence at this point.
I can't because they're both in the room with me.
Oh, you have to be alone?
I'm almost positive
no,
I
you
have
just
to
have
be.
to. You have to not be. I believe you just have to. As long as you emit no overpowering odor, no sound louder than a whisper, it automatically works. Only if the observer has their attention drawn to the user can they make a detection roll. So
All right.
if you have unseen
all right.
passage,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can.
Then I'll use that.
All right, so you poof.
Yeah,
You-
we would have to be actively observing you. And I'm assuming
Gotcha.
since you're hiding and we're more concerned about the fucks in the door.
Yeah, you'll be fine, Jeff. Like, I'd have no problem with you activating that ability. So
Cool.
you kind of retreat your presence from the world around you. You kind of pull in on yourself, and you effectively vanish from the room. Now, with that being said, that allows you to move around undetected unless somebody throws up, sense unseen.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you wish, you can actually move around the room. Just don't interact with anything. Do you want to try to get you want to stay in your hiding spot? Or do you want to try to get a sight on what's going on with who this person is?
I'll try and get. I'm gonna still use the table as much cover as possible, but I will try and get to an area where if I peek my head up, I might be able to see who that is.
Okay, not a problem. You kind of move into position and slowly kind of raise yourself up where your line of sight passes the top of that steel table. And you are aware of Lamont in one corner and Preston in the other, but Preston's actually off the ground and just like watching over. You see him kind of nudge very slowly and quietly toward the edge in the corner of the wall, and he just kind of briefly peers around. Now, he's doing it just to where his eye can just catch a glimpse and not revealing any of himself to whoever's walking down. Now, both of you pretty much at the same time managed to see Sierra walking in an evening gown, and she looks pissed.
Newberry did what we should have done.
I didn't know her number, so
I don't want to play this. I will just kind of quietly hop down off the counter.
Just like,
Not like making a big noise, but like just boop.
okay. She walks right past the mouth of the hallway and walks around the table that Sullivan was hiding behind and goes straight for that door. And she's swearing under her breath what you assume is probably Italian or some other Romance language. And she gets to that door. She didn't even seem to be paying attention to the room around her at all. She just gets to the door and shoves it open. You hear it slam against the wall. And you hear a voice on the inside call out in that harsh, language. She's like, "You shut the fuck up. You call me here for this? For this? You've done this after what you pulled at the Institute?" And then at that point, you hear him kind of chuckle. And he goes, "Hey, you know that I don't like being around them. You know that they're a waste of time. We should just wipe the fucking floor with all of them and be done with this city." And Sierra kind of clicks her tongue against her mouth and is like, "Listen, we're here because our sire said this is the best way moving forward. What the fuck is wrong with you, you Russian idiot?" And you hear this like really hard impact against what you guess is a body, because you hear that squelching crunch of bone and something slams against the wall. And you hear Sierra like, "Are you having a temper tantrum now? Casting aside your broken toys?" He's like, "No, these are not my toys. These are what they sent after us. After you," you hear Sierra say. "After you. Not me. I didn't fuck up. You did." And you hear Malenkov kind of go, "Oh, isn't that just what you would assume it to be? Somebody fucked with my mind in that place. Haven't you gotten that through your goddamn head and told that prince? Somebody fucked with me while I was leaving, and I lost my goddamn mind." She's like, "Well, you're making a good case for stability right now." "Really fucking funny, Sierra. How do we get out of this?" She's like, "We don't. Moreover, you don't." And that break in the conversation, it goes a bit quiet in there. You can probably almost in your heads assume that they're just glaring each other down when you guys hear another car pull up in the back. Two sets of doors open and close. You hear that crunching across the snow as somebody's walking towards that back door again.
I'll move towards that swinging back door that before you hit the back door, and I'll kind of scoot up against the wall so I'm still out of sight, but when they come in, I'll be able to see if it's Jason or who's there, especially because we just called him. We don't know who he's bringing, if anybody.
Right.
This could be a whole nother shitstorm that we didn't expect, so.
When that door opens, as the footsteps approach it, you hear it creak open again, and you see Newberry and this teenage African-American kid that you recognize as Damien right off the bat. He's got that compact frame, but he just radiates strength. And he's walking in, and you see he kind of pulls his shoulders, his backpack around his body, and pulls out a stake, and dips his other hand in and reaches in and pulls out a stake and hands it to Newberry. Newberry looks at it, takes it, shakes his head, pulls his own backpack, and pulls his liquor bottle with a rag inside. And he shakes it up. And you see Damien like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" "They don't like fire." "We don't like fire."
What the fuck is wrong with you?
This might. I hope
Where do you
this isn't
start?
stupid. I'll let the obfuscate drop and be like, "Sierra's in there too."
When you let the obfuscate drop, you see Damien's eyes pop to you immediately. And his frame tenses, but as his head tilts, you can see that he realizes it's who it is. He's like, "All right." He kind of pulls up two fingers and then points at the door. And Preston's by the door too, right? That swinging door. Is Lamont still in the corner?
Yeah, I haven't moved.
Okay. So you're being a ghost.
I'm just kind of like, I'm just playing it cool, hanging out in the corner, real quiet, like.
I'll just say quietly, since they were already whispering, and if they were heard, then they were heard. It doesn't matter. But I'll just say they're arguing.
You guys hear this sudden break in the tension in another room, as literally the sounds of like this solid blows being struck start to reverberate through the air. Now, those with heightened senses are where catching the power behind them. You hear that subtle crack of bone when they connect, and the rustling of fabric as these two start moving. Preston, though, on top of this, is suddenly enveloped in blackness that just shoots through that door. It's this. You've seen it before. You saw it at the yacht club. That writhing, almost living, tangible darkness that just floods past you. And you feel in that blackness, as everything is enveloped in your senses, sound is a bit muffled. From inside, you hear the grunts and the punches from the room beyond this door. But you also feel like the shadows are moving up against you, like physically brushing against your form. And it's incredibly uncomfortable.
I'll I'll try and get my bearings enough to try and like move out of it.
Well, you don't lose your sense of direction. It's just disorienting. So you still have the wall to one side. You still can feel the door right by you. So walking out is not an issue. You only have to take a couple steps. But it's that moment of this stuff just flooding past you that is almost like, what the fuck is that?
All right.
You step out, and you step out to see Jason pull a lighter out of his pocket and start clicking it. And he looks at Sullivan.
I'll back the fuck up. I don't like fire. I'd just be like, no.
Damien like nudges him with an elbow. It's like, motherfucker, we got to bring him in. It's not toast time. And Damien is kind of taken aback because Jason smiles and goes, it's always toast time. And starts walking towards the door and flicks the lighter on. He's like, motherfucker, you got to stop.
I'll just say, hey, she might be doing the job for you.
Then we'll take them both. He looks gleeful at this idea.
No, that won't look good.
They're the Sombra. They're not part of the cam. I won't get in trouble. And he looks at Damien, and you can't say shit. Damien's like, what do you mean I can't say shit? I know what we're here to do. You're the fucking guy going overboard. It's like, I'm not going overboard. I'm handling the fucking problem. I'm covering up their bodies and those motherfuckers.
I don't really have anything to add to that. I'll just whisper from the corner as I will lower my silence of death. Wouldn't bringing back proof of their destruction be better than just having been taken at your word?
Saying that to
I'm just
Jason?
kind of saying it so that they can hear it. Yeah, I'm not really directing it. I'm obviously directing it at Jason because
Right.
none of us want to run from fire.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just sort of saying it, because it's the devil's advocate of the scenario.
So you exhale these words into the air, and they hang there for a second, and Jason's hand kind of pauses, and the flames just almost about to lick the cloth that he stuffed into the mouth of this bottle. He's like, well, I mean, we can take the ashes back, right? And Damien's like, motherfucker, they can run out the front door too, like a fucking movie. He's like, yeah, this is what we'll say. We'll say we were filming a movie. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. We'll take care of a threat to the city. We'll be fucking heroes. All 5 of us will be heroes. Damien's like, I will put you the fuck down if your crazy ass doesn't put that lighter out. Right the fuck now. And he's actually pointing at him with the stake, the pointy end.
I'll just
You blow it out. You're
what
like,
the fuck out.
Jason doesn't even know. He doesn't even notice. He's just like, fuck. Shit.
Bring in just the one that we're here for, and the other one might be useful later.
So what? Am I just supposed to let them fight each other from Jason? And Damien's like, I mean, fuck. Why
I'm gonna
not?
take part if you want.
He
I
looks.
can't see shit.
He looks
I'll
at the wall of blackness. He's like, I'm not fucking. This will go in there. And he points like at the Molotov. He's like, I'm not going in there.
No. I'll sort of like effeminately pull out the 50 cal from my jacket and kind of like hold it by the barrel. Like, does anybody want this? Clearly, I don't know how to use this fucking gun.
Damien's like, don't fucking hurt yourself with that. Point the other way around. Shoot them when they come through that dark.
I'll set it on the shelf.
Should a couple of us go around out front in case they just burst out into the front? We're all kind of concentrated in the back. Like, what if they go out the front door?
You see Damien look at Jason like, Jason, you said that these guys like they can handle this shit. Who am I asking? You're the one who's going to burn the fucking building down. And Jason's like, well, call him A, call him B. What are you going to do? We work with what we got. We make an omelet with the ingredients on hand. It's like, omelets, what the fuck are you talking about?
Also, you're in charge, so we're just taking our instruction from
Listen,
you.
you three.
We found them.
Damien's, you know what? Fine. You 3 fucking go out front. Pull around, make sure he doesn't run. If he does, you fucking watch his ass. Trail him and let me know where the fuck he's going, all right?
Not a problem.
Good.
Can we have your phone number?
Don't you already have it?
No.
Fuck. God, this is not the time for this shit. And he pulls out a card, puts it on the table. It's a burner phone. When it changes, let everybody fucking know what it is next time we have Elysium, all right? But fucking go outside, make sure he doesn't run. If he does, just keep an eye on him.
You got it.
Where are we going?
Start headed out.
All right.
I'll grab the pistol on my way out.
You guys head out the back then?
You shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah.
Are you getting in the car or running around the front?
I'm gonna get in the car because if he comes out the front, I'm running him the fuck over.
Okay.
Yeah. So how about I'll say, how about you two get in the car and I'll just go squat in front of the building just to keep a lookout.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So you guys get around the front. Lamont's just kind of out of the car watching, and Preston and Sullivan are in the vehicle itself, just waiting with it on. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will leave the pistol in the car because I will shoot my eye out. I don't know how to use it.
So when you go to the back, you guys will see that there's a nice black sedan there, and then there's also like it's an SUV. It's like a Ford Explorer, like a large one with tinted windows out there as well. It's like a beige color.
Like an Expedition or something.
Yeah, something along that size. Larger vehicle. You guys get the car, come around, no problem. But as you get around, you see a sudden flash from inside the bar, and smoke starts billowing out of the front door through the cracks.
Oh,
Fucking Jason Dewberry.
We fucking walk away for 30 seconds.
well, at least we didn't have to frenzy.
Yeah, no shit.
All right, well, I don't think the characters had any idea this was going to go down, especially in this way. But when Jason Newberry gets involved, things get a little unpredictable, and you can tell when they went to message him, they knew that it was probably not the best of decisions, but they really had no other alternatives. So let's catch up with them next episode and see how they pick up the pieces.